kindergartners. All right, this is the last bee book we're going to read, and it is called Why Do We Need Bees? And this has a lot of little flaps that we're going to lift up. And I know that the cover looks like it's probably going to be a fiction book, but I want you to listen, and then I'll ask you at the end if you think this was a fiction or a nonfiction. Remember, fiction tells a story, nonfiction gives facts. All right, so let's go ahead and open this up. Ooh, what are bees? Bees are buzzing, flying insects. Many have stripes, and some make honey. So then over here it says, what's an insect? The little beetle says, I am. And then there's a little caterpillar that says, I'm not. And butterflies say, we are. The name given to a very large group of very small animals. They all have 3 parts to their bodies and 6 legs. What do bees look like close up? Ooh, then they made a big one. Like this. 4 wings, 2 on each side. Hairy body in 3 parts. 2 feelers to smell and touch things. And tiny claws to grip onto things. What's this? A baby bee is called a larva. It grows from a tiny egg. So this is a baby bee, a larva. Can all insects fly? No, some just walk and others swim. We got this little bee over here. Let's see what he says. I'm a honeybee. So this is what honeybees can look like. I'm a hairy-footed flower bee. So his hairy feet. I'm a bumblebee. He's a big bee, isn't he? I'm a sweat bee. I'm not a bee. I'm a wasp. I'm a beetle. How many different kinds of bees are there? So let's see. How many different kinds of bees are there? Over 20,000. From the tiny stingless bee to the blue orchard bee. So look, this bee right here is actually a real type of bee, and it's blue. And this is stingless bee. Will they sting me? Let's find out if this bee will sting them. No, bees only sting if they feel in danger. So just keep still and let them buzz by. Why do we need bees? Because they spread pollen by visiting flowers, and that helps plants to grow. What is pollen? A dusty powder inside flowers. Plants need pollen from other flowers to make their seeds and grow new plants. So without bees, we wouldn't have very many flowers that are being pollinated. How do bees spread pollen? By flying from flower to flower. Pollen sticks to the bee's fuzz, then rubs off on the next flower. Why do bees visit flowers? To get food. They suck a sweet liquid called nectar and collect pollen to eat later. Remember, they use that pollen to make honey. How do bees help this plant? Well, they spread its pollen so fruit can grow. Seeds then grow inside the fruit. So why do we need bees? Because without them, we couldn't grow lots of the vegetables and fruits that we eat. Do all plants need bees? No, pollen is spread by other insects and by the wind too. What will happen to these flowers? After the bee visits, the petals will fall off and green beans will grow in their place. So this is a green bean. Where do bees live? Well, all over the world. Some live in big groups, others live on their own. What's this? A beehive, a home for honeybees. People keep bees in hives so they can collect their honey. So this is a beehive, and this is actually where we get honey from. Where can I see a nest like this? In tropical rainforests and other warm places. In colder places, wild honeybees make their nests inside hollow trees. So where we live, bees make their nests inside of empty trees. Well, what's inside this hole? A bumblebee nest. Over half the bees in the world make their nests underground. So some bees make their nests underground to have their babies. Where are these bees going? To set up a new nest. Theirs is too crowded. Wait for me. Where's this bee's nest? She doesn't have one. She's a cuckoo bee? A cuckoo bee? She sneaks into other nests and lays her eggs there. Oh, she's a sneaky bee. What are these circles for? So see those little cutouts? Making little rooms to lay my eggs in. I'm a leaf cutter bee. I know you can't see, so I'm gonna. A leaf cutter bee. Well, who lives here? Oh, I see a little bee going in. A carpenter bee. She chews out a tunnel for a nest and lays her eggs. So there's her egg, and this is food. How do bees make honey? Do all bees make honey? Well, they collect sweet nectar from flowers and store it in their nest. Let's see, do all bees make honey? No, bees that live on their own don't. Bees that live in groups make at least a little. So bumblebees do, but this bee doesn't. How do bees carry nectar? In special honey tummies. The nectar is passed from bee to bee. Which flower should I visit? Bees use smell and sight to find flowers with pollen and nectar. Yummy pollen, no nectar here. Many flowers have lines to guide bees to the nectar. Oh, yeah, look at these. So they know. Follow me. Oh, this bee's going in the ground. So let's look what he's doing. There he goes. Bumblebees make honey pots in their nests. Why is this bee dancing? To tell other bees where to find the best flowers. Fly to the right of the sun. So they tell each other where the best flowers are by doing a dance. Because it can't talk like humans. It can't be like, over there, that purple flower is the best flower. So instead, they do a little dance and they use the sun to help the other bees find where the best flowers are. Why are you hovering here? So why is this bee just staying here? I'm fanning the nectar with my wings to turn it into thick, sweet honey. I'm sealing the honey with a wax liquid. Wow. Honeybees are really, really bright. How do beekeepers collect honey? They lift out the honey frames, which this is the honey frame, and carefully brush off the bees. Then they slice off the wax lids, and then they cut it, and whiz the frames around so the honey spins out. And then they spin it out on a machine. How do bees enter the hive? Through a little gap at the bottom. Coming through. So I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm going to put it up close. But right there is the hive. And then there's a little gap at the bottom. And that's where they fly in and out. do in a hive? A hive has a queen bee, thousands of female worker bees, which are girls, and many male drone bees, so boys. So which one's the queen? I am. I'm the mother of all the bees in the hive. Now, do you think she really wears a crown? No. We're her daughters. We're worker bees. What are all these hexagon shapes? So we see all these little hexagons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 sides. It's a hexagon. Let's see, what are these hexagon shapes? They're little spaces called cells. Bees make them for storing food and hatching eggs. So we said some bees lay eggs in the ground, and some bees, honeybees, lay their eggs in these little cells. And they also collect honey in these little cells. What's going on in here? Let's see. A new queen bee is growing. She eats lots of royal jelly to make her bigger than the other bees. So there's royal jelly. How do bees grow up? I lay an egg. The egg grows into a larva. The larva grows and changes, and it crawls out as a bee. So that's the life cycle of a bee, or I guess the stages of a bee. And then once the bee lays some more, so this bee, she'll die, and the queen or the new queen will go and lay more eggs. Lift these flaps to see the jobs worker bees do. So they clean out cells. I wonder what he's doing. They feed honey and pollen to each larva. So the little babies, they give the honey and pollen to each little larva. They make wax to build more cells. So they put wax over cells. They guard the entrance to the hive. Go away, wasp. Which we actually found out how they protect the hive, didn't we? We found out that when a wasp or an intruder, I guess, comes in, all the honeybees circle around it. So basically it can't fly anywhere. Look at these three. They collect nectar and pollen for the hive. What are drone bees? So those are the boy bees. What do the boy bees do? The only male bees in the hive, they fly off in search of new queen bees. Amazing bees. Find out some more amazing facts about bees and why they need our help. So, how do bees buzz? We already learned this. By moving their wings very quickly 200 times in 1 second. Can bees talk to each other? Remember their dance. Well, sort of. Not like we do, but through their dances and through smells they make. So they communicate by dancing and by releasing special smells. And those smells mean something. Kind of like in Daily 5 when your teacher chimes, that chime means something to you guys. We don't say anything, but you guys know exactly what to do because we've taught you. That's how the bees do the same thing. How many bees make a jar of honey? Around 20,000. One bee makes only 1/8 of a teaspoon of honey in its lifetime. So one bee only makes this much amount of honey. So not very much, right? So it takes thousands to make one jar of honey. Save our bees. Are bees in danger? Yes, many bees are dying out. Changes in our towns and countrysides means it's hard for bees to find enough flowers. So it's really important that you at your home have flowers that the bees can use and that they can get pollen and nectar from so that they can survive. Can bees live in towns? Yes, if there are enough flowers around, window boxes, gardens, and parks are all good places for flowers. Rooftops can be a great place for beehives. So look, they have, oh dear. Oh, sorry. All right. So they have these little window boxes, and the bees are using those to get nectar and pollen from the flowers. And then up here on top of the big buildings, they have beehives. How can we help bees? By giving them a place to live and planting more flowers for their food. So those hives that we saw earlier, those are good things to have, and also just giving them lots of flowers. Remember, it has to be living, so we have to plant it. How long have bees been on Earth? Since dinosaur times. Ancient Egyptian beehive. People have been keeping honeybees for thousands of years. So honeybees have been around for a very long time. All right, kindergartners, I hope you enjoyed our book. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you on Monday.